Hello, welcome to the Zanussi Back to School Shortcuts Facebook Live. My name is Ciara. I'm a kids and family food writer, and I'm going to be showing you today some really quick and simple recipes that you can make for your family this September. So this month I know can be crazy for families. I've got two small kids myself. One has just started school. It can be really hectic if you're at home, if you're working, trying to get meals prepared for everybody. It is not an easy task. But myself and Zanussi are going to be showing you today some simple recipe ideas that you can make. Cooking doesn't have to be a stress point in your family. We can make something quickly, easy, and also really healthy for the whole family, and you don't need to have a whole lot of time. So the first recipe we're going to be making today is fruity breakfast muffins using a Zanussi electric oven, and you can actually be in with a chance to win one of two of these ovens today. We're going to be running a competition for the next couple of weeks, and what we want you guys to do is to get involved in the recipes that I'm going to be showing you today. So we have a few recipes to make and also some pre-made ones I'm going to show you. You can get involved by either making these exact recipes yourself and posting the pictures to the Zanussi Facebook page, or you can even put twists yourself. So change up the ingredients, different flavors, whatever you think. Just let us know what you would do with these recipes. So if you want to get involved in that competition, stay tuned, and also check out the Zanussi Facebook page where all the terms and conditions are. Okay, so let's get started with today's first recipe. As I said, it's going to be fruity breakfast muffins. Now, I would love for you guys to get involved with me in this today. I want this to be as interactive as possible. I've got my laptop here and we're going to have questions coming in. So let me know if you have questions about the appliances that I'm using or about the recipes themselves. Let me know. I can read them out here and we can talk it through together. Okay, so our fruity breakfast muffins. These are fantastic to make, especially at the weekend when you might have a bit of time, maybe on a Sunday. You can make them in batches. My recipe today makes 10. You can double, even triple the recipe, whack them in the fridge or even in the freezer for the rest of the week. The first ingredient we're going to use is wholemeal flour. So that's going into our bowl. And then to that, we're going to add just a small amount of rolled oats as well. And we're using these ingredients as opposed to white flour because we want these to be as healthy and filling as possible. They're packed full of fiber, so it means in the morning, give one or two of these to your kids and it will hopefully keep them full until lunchtime. Next up then, we're going to have our raising agents. We've got some baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of that. So as you can see, these are really just quite ordinary, simple ingredients, hopefully ones that you already have at home in your store cupboard. Some baking soda as well to help the rise. We're just going to give that a quick stir in the bowl. So there you go, just really simple. You can even get the kids involved in this. Muffins are a great recipe to get them helping because they're kind of like cakes, so they think it's a treat, but they're actually really healthy. Right, next up we have our wet ingredients, and the first one we have is some plain yogurt. So this is just your normal plain yogurt, Greek yogurt. So there's no sweetener in it, no sugar. And to that we're also going to add some melted coconut oil. I love using this because it just gives not a strong, but just a very subtle taste of coconut. Really delicious. To that as well, continuing our wet ingredients, is 1 egg. Don't let the kids do that because the shell will go everywhere. We also have a couple of tablespoons, of honey. And this is the only kind of liquid sweetener we're going to add to the muffins. It doesn't need any sugar. It just gives it a nice little bit of sweetness. And you can use maple syrup as well if you don't have honey, if you prefer the taste of maple syrup. I know some people do. You can use that as well. We're also going to whack in a couple of bananas. So the bananas add obviously a lovely taste to the muffins, but again, they help with the sweetness because bananas naturally are really sweet. And also, of course, it's a really healthy ingredient. Great for kids to have at breakfast. So we're just going to mash those up on a board. There we go. As I said, get the kids involved so you don't actually have to do much work with this recipe. That's going straight in. Give it a mix. Okay, and the last wet ingredient is just a little bit of vanilla extract. If you don't have this, don't worry about it. It's not essential, but again, it just adds a nice little touch of sweetness, touch of vanilla. Gives a really lovely flavor to the muffins. So there you go. There is our wet ingredients. Right, so back we go to the dry, and these are going to go straight in. Very, very simple. The great thing about this recipe as well, you don't need any fancy equipment, mixers, anything, just a couple of bowls, some spoons, really, really simple. So there you see, we're just going to mix the wet and dry ingredients together. You don't have to over mix it because we don't want to knock the air out of the muffins. We just want to keep them as light and fluffy as possible, but obviously getting those ingredients mixed up. It's coming together really nicely. At this point, the mixture will seem a little thick, but the next ingredient that's coming is going to solve that problem. So this is where the fruitiness comes in to our muffins. We've got a couple of clementines. Just going to slice them in two and add the juice in. Whoops! Don't drop the whole clementine in. So in with all that juice. You can use an orange, maybe one and a half oranges instead if you have that at home, but I prefer clementines. I just think they're a slightly sweeter taste. And obviously they're very abundant this time of year, so it's a perfect time to be using them. Okay. Again, this is a great job for the kids. A little bit messy, so let them get involved in this one. But breakfast generally is that time, certainly in my family, where we just don't have a whole lot of time to get something on the table, especially if you've got kids like mine that like to spend 15, 20 minutes eating. These are brilliant because you can make them up the night before, you can make them up maybe on a Sunday afternoon with the kids. They'll keep for probably about 3 days in the fridge. And also you can bulk bake them, put them into the freezer, and then pop them out. They'll defrost easily overnight, so you can take them out the night before and you've got delicious muffins in the morning. You can pop them into the microwave or the oven very, very quickly just to warm through. Okay, so that is our muffin mix pretty much done. The final ingredient we're going to add in is some blueberries. And that's basically the fruity element to them. If your kids don't like blueberries, don't worry, you can leave them out. You can even chop and change. So I've made this recipe with raspberries, with strawberries, any kind of berries will do. So don't worry, if they're not blueberry fans, you can just swap them out. Okay, our mix is done. So as you can see, that was really, really easy. I mean, that was probably 8 minutes max of prep time. Now the mixture needs to go in the muffin cases. This is going to make about 10 today. And my top tip when it comes to muffins is to use an ice cream scoop. It just makes it so easy to fill up the cases. No messing around with 2 spoons, trying to scrape them down. So, so easy. And again, this is a great one. Get the kids involved. They'll have loads of fun doing this. These smell really, really good. It's the fruitiness of those clementines. Really delicious. And it just kind of reminds me of this time of year as well. That kind of autumn, coming up to Halloween. It's really, really good. Right, so these are filling up nicely. So the oven that we're going to be using to cook these muffins in is actually the same oven that we're giving away today. So as I said, get involved, post your own ideas, your recipes. If you chop and change these, let me know what you do. Obviously, if you make the recipes well, send the picture in. All the T's and C's are on the Facebook page. Okay, these ones, because I've made them quite big today, they've actually made 9, but that's fine. Okay, so they're ready for the oven. Ready to go. So in they go. I'm going to pop the timer on for 25 minutes. There we go. So as you can see, that was really, really quick and easy, super simple to make on a Sunday. Just going to clear this down and then we'll get on with making our second recipe. I think we might also have some questions coming in. So Jane has asked, how do you avoid making different meals for different family members? Jane, this is actually something that I used to do before I got involved in cooking and cooking for my Fussy Eaters. I used to be making several different meals a day. I found it quite stressful, and obviously we were using a lot of food, we were wasting a lot of food. So what I do now is I try to adapt as many meals as possible to my kids. So one of those examples will be like a roast chicken. My kids aren't great with roast meats, so like a Sunday roast. So often when I cook a roast chicken, what I'll actually do is change the recipe up a bit for them. So I'll cook rice with it and I'll shred the chicken breast. I'll mix it all together in with some vegetables, maybe a little bit of cheese on top. So myself and my husband might have your normal roast. We might have some potatoes and then some rice and the vegetables. Before the kids, I mix it all together. So I basically just chop and change it as I think it might work for them. And yeah, it seems to be working really well so far. So give that one a try. Okay, so we're going to get on with cooking our curry. Just going to fill a saucepan with some water and get the rice on first. The muffins are obviously in the oven and they're going to cook away for 25 minutes. And one of the great things that I like about this particular Zanussi oven is that all the air completely flows around evenly. So you don't have a situation where if you're batch cooking, say, a couple of trays of muffins at the time, they're cooking separately, or one side of the tray is cooking and the other isn't. The air is completely being circulated around, so you get an even cook every time, which is great. Another function I really like as well is that you can set it so that it turns off when the timer finishes. And I think this is really great for like a family friendly oven, because say you're out in the garden playing with the kids or you're upstairs bathing them, the timer goes off. You don't always want to have to rush down to leave the kids on their own to turn the oven off. But this Zanussi oven, you can actually set the function so it will turn off itself. I think that's really, really useful. Right, so on with our chicken curry. I'm just going to grab our ingredients. So this is a great meal to make during the week, especially again this time of year. You want something quite comforting, you want some really good home cooked food. It's a lovely, delicious curry that you can make in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, absolute max. Obviously, it's much better for you, healthier than a takeaway, but really easy to make at home as well. We're going to be using the Zanussi hob to do that. So first of all, we're going to turn it on, and I'm going to show you guys this slide function that it has, because it's really, really easy to use. It's simply a case of sliding your finger, really kind of touch control on the heat. I'm going to do the rice as well. There we go. So the great thing as well that I feel about induction hobs is that they are really, really safe when you've got a young family. Sometimes if you've got a gas hob, obviously there's kind of a a danger that the kids may touch the flame, or they might accidentally put their sleeve against it. And with induction hobs, you don't have that risk. So in terms of being family friendly, it's really fantastic. Okay, so on with our chicken curry. We have got a pan, a little bit of oil. I've used rapeseed oil, but you could use vegetable oil as well. It's totally fine. Got our water on the boil for the rice. So we're going to add in our chicken. You can see how quickly that has heated up already. Super, super fast. So the chicken is in, and we're just going to brown it for a couple of minutes. We don't need to cook it through completely, just to get it nice and brown for the moment. So I'm obviously using chicken in this recipe, but feel free to change it up. So if you're a vegetarian, you can use some tofu. If you'd like a fish or seafood version, you could use chunks of cod. Monkfish would be really delicious. You could use some prawns, lots of seafood. So feel free to experiment with it if you're going to be making this at home. Okay, so that's cooking really, really quickly now. Okay, so while that is browning, I'm going to check my questions again. Oh, and Verity actually asked, what is the benefit of using induction hob rather than gas? Verity, I hope I've answered that already. Eddie's asked, any tips for getting fussy eaters to eat their 5 a day? I know some people don't agree with this, but I am a big fan of hiding vegetables, because I just think it makes your life a lot easier. It takes all the stress out of dinner time. So things like, I love making a big vat of hidden veg tomato sauce. So a big saucepan full of chopped tomatoes, passata. You can use loads of veggies, carrots, courgette, aubergine, peppers, get them all in there, blitz the whole thing. And it's another one that you can make, like you can batch make and keep in the fridge, keep in the freezer. And it just means that when you're making pasta, you've got your homemade pasta sauce. You can spread it on top of pizza. It's a really great way of just getting veg into kids with no stress, no complaints, which is what we're all looking for. Okay, so that's just browning up nicely. I'm going to turn it down just a little. Really, really easy to use. Right, so that is just about browned. Turn it down a little bit more. We're going to get the rice on now as well, just while the last of that chicken is cooking. There we go. So I'm using a long grain rice, just like a normal easy cook long grain rice. So I think it is the simplest to cook, but feel free to use a basmati rice, fragrant rice. They'll all taste really good with this. Okay, so we've just browned off the chicken. I'm going to put it to the side. Whoops, don't spill it. So in it goes. So keep the last bit of that oil, any little juices. And now we're going to go in with onions. So these, I've just had them pre-chopped to make my life a little bit easier. So I've had a question come in from Emma about the muffins, saying, are they good for a low-fat diet? Yes, they're not. They're obviously not completely fat-free, because they contain the coconut oil, but compared to your average kind of shop bought or like cafe muffins, they're certainly a lot healthier. As I mentioned, you can kind of change up as well. If you don't have coconut oil or you don't like the taste of it, you can use butter or kind of like a margarine as well. So they're really versatile. Right, so that water on the rice is coming to the boil. So I'm just going to take that down and leave it simmer. And get the rest of the ingredients for our curry. So those onions are just browning nicely. A little hack as well I have for really busy days is to use frozen bags of onion. You can buy them in most supermarkets now, and they're really great because they just cut out that one little step, that extra step. Everything's pre-chopped. You can do it with garlic as well, and it's really great for busy days. Just saves an extra couple of minutes in the kitchen. So those onions are just about brown, so I'm going to go in with some garlic. That little stir, and this is where it starts to smell really, really good. There's nothing like the smell of onions and garlic. Do you agree or not? Let me know. I know some people don't like it, but I really do. So I've had a question in from Nicole asking how to make recipes gluten-free. Now, Nicole, it really is so easy now. There's so many gluten-free flours in the market. Most supermarkets now have a choice of several different ones. So any of my recipes that I use that have any kind of flour or oats in them, just swap them out for gluten-free versions. It's really, really easy. Okay, so we're going to go in with the spices, and first up is just simple curry powder. This is a medium curry powder, and I'm going to use half a teaspoon of that. Jack said he loves the smell of garlic and onions. Me too. So sorry, that curry powder was actually half a tablespoon, a little bit more in. So that's it. In terms of spices, curry powder, and that's garam masala. So nothing crazy. I mean, you probably already have them at home, but you certainly don't have to go out and search for obscure spices to make a really nice curry yourself. Just really standard ingredients. Okay, we're just going to fry that off just for a little bit because it just helps to get all those lovely fragrant spices out. I'm just going to check on the rice. I've had a comment in from Gemma saying her kids are hungry all the time. Mine too, it just seems to be kids. They obviously grow really quickly, and yeah, they eat a lot. They really do eat a lot. I'm going to be showing you, while this curry is cooking, I'm going to be showing you a flapjack recipe I have as well, and I'm going to be putting that recipe up on my site on Monday. So these recipes I've made today, the muffins and the curry, are on my site if you want to go check out now. It's myfussyeater.com, and the flapjack recipe will be up on Monday, and I'll show you that very shortly. Okay, so on with the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of ground almond. Now, if you or your kids are nut-free, if you've got an allergy, don't worry, you can leave this out. It's not an essential ingredient, but I just think it adds a really lovely kind of subtle nutty flavour to the curry. But don't worry, as I said, you can leave it out. It's not completely essential. So give that a stir, and then we're going to put in our liquid. And I have just a small amount of chicken stock. And also some coconut milk. I've been asked to turn the smell-o-vision up by Carolyn. I wish I could. I mean, we've done amazing things the last few years with technology, but I think that's certainly the next thing we could do. Because yeah, you really need to be here to smell this. It is delicious. Okay, so give that a good stir. And then we're going to add back in our chicken that we partially cooked. I'm just going to turn that heat up a little bit as well, so we'll bring it up to the boil and then we can reduce to a simmer. It really is so easy to use the Zanussi induction hobs. Super simple. I think the kids would actually be able to use it if I let them. Okay, let's double check that rice again. It's cooking. We'll turn that up a little as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it with the curry for the moment. We're just going to leave it for a few minutes to simmer and to cook away. And in the meantime, I'm going to be showing you another couple of recipes that I've pre-made today. So the first that we were talking about was the afternoon snacks, and these are my peanut butter flapjacks. As I mentioned, these will be on my site on Monday if you want the recipe for them, but they're super simple. They're made mainly from oats. There's loads of peanut butter in them. I've got seeds, I've got raisins, honey for a bit of sweetness. They're super, super delicious. They're also obviously packed full of really kind of natural, healthy ingredients. So in terms of an afternoon snack, they're really, really great. They're also no bake, so again, really simple, and the kids can get involved in making them. And how I actually keep them together is by freezing them in the freezer, and the Zanussi integrated fridge freezer is brilliant for that because it has a quick freezer function, so you can freeze stuff really quickly. And yeah, this is pretty much how I would serve it, just on maybe on a little plate and a little serving of some fruit as well. Kids absolutely love them. They go down a treat. The next recipe then I have, which is also on my site at the moment that I've made with Zanussi, is these lunchbox muffins. And I know making lunch every day for kids going to school or going to preschool can be quite stressful. I know my kids just ask for ham or cheese sandwiches every day, and I'm obviously trying to encourage them to make or to eat different things and to kind of vary their diet a bit. And these are a really great alternative to sandwiches. So they're essentially muffins, but they're savory muffins. And these ones have feta, they've got cheddar cheese, they've got a little bit of spinach, some sun-dried tomatoes. So they're packed full of flavor, really, really tasty. These would be a great one actually to make for the competition to win one of these Zanussi electric ovens, because you can chop and change these up as you wish. You can make loads of different flavors, add in all different kinds of ingredients. So yeah, if you're looking for a recipe to make, these are probably the ones to do. And yeah, in terms of serving them, pack them away in a lunchbox, a little bit of fruit and veg, and they've got a really delicious and balanced, healthy lunch. So another idea to try, that recipe is on my site. Okay, so we're just going to check on our curry now. It's bubbling away nicely. So we've obviously kind of par cooked the chicken, so it doesn't need too much longer, maybe another 5 or 6 minutes cooking. And the rice as well is cooking away. I know a lot of people avoid cooking rice. It seems to be one of those things that people can struggle with. I did for years, but I found that the long grain rice is a lot easier to cook. It's a bit more forgiving. Basmati rice tends to stick together. It's a bit more sticky. And yeah, you can mess that up. The long grain I find is pretty foolproof. So if you struggle with rice, give that one a go. Okay, we're just going to have a quick look at the muffins, see where we are at the time. There's 6 minutes left. They're looking really, really good. Excellent. They also look as well completely evenly baked. Like I said, that is a bugbear of mine, of when you have something like that baking in the oven and some are brown and some are not. It can be, yeah, it can be a bit irritating having to cook them, some of them longer for others. But that's a really great function of the Zanussi integrated oven. And as I mentioned, if you do want to enter the competition, this is the exact oven that you have a chance to be winning. We're giving away 2. Oh, you have a couple of weeks, I think, to enter the competition until first week of October. So don't worry if you are watching this a little bit later, or you're watching this afterwards, there's still loads of time to enter. Okay, that is almost cooked, so I'm just going to get the final few ingredients for the curry. So the last couple of ingredients we're going to put in are some chickpeas. These are great to add to curry because I find chickpeas can be a little bit bland on their own, so you need something kind of really flavoursome to have with them. My kids will say they don't like chickpeas, but when they're in the curry, they will eat them no problem. They're obviously packed full of fibre and protein, a really, really great ingredient to get kids to eat. And then the final ingredient that will be going in will be spinach. And I know this one is probably difficult for kids to eat. My kids certainly always complain about green things in their dinner. So if it really is a sticking point, you can leave it out. Don't worry about that. I'm obviously using fresh spinach today. If you want to use frozen spinach, that's totally fine. Just add it maybe a little bit earlier than I am because it will take a little bit longer to cook. So Bianca has asked if the curry can be batch cooked and frozen. Absolutely, Bianca. This is a really great one to make because, as you can see, it's so easy. All you need is maybe a bigger pan or a bigger pot. You can make double, even triple the recipe. Let it cool completely and then put it into a freezer-safe pot. It will last a couple of months in the freezer. The rice I usually tend to cook from fresh each time. But you can also use those packets of microwave rice if you're in a rush. So days when you're super busy, you can just have the curry out, take it out maybe in the morning or the night before, pop it in the fridge. It will be defrosted and then just heat it up on the hob. Make sure you heat it completely. The chicken is totally heated through. And then you have your rice and you've got your dinner ready to go. Julie says, thank you for the idea of hiding veg in pizza sauce. That's fine, Julie. I actually have loads of ideas, so head over to my site. If you type in hidden veg, I've got loads of ideas for hiding veg in various things, even sausage rolls, loads of different ideas. Right, so the chickpeas are going in now. So they're going to go in. And they're just going to cook a couple of minutes. Obviously, they're pre-cooked. We just want them to cook through, or to heat through, really, not even to cook. What you need then, obviously, is a little helper in the kitchen to tidy up. I love to cook, but I'm not so great at cleaning up. Zanussi do have a really fantastic dishwasher that you can use. I will show you. I'll put a couple of things in. So the great thing about this is that it's got movable compartments, so you can use it however you wish and basically move it around so it fits in loads of different shapes and sizes of pots and pans. It's got a really good function. It's quite simple in terms of using it because nobody needs a really confusing appliance to use. But one of my favorite functions is that you can set a timer when it's going to come on, and that just means that if you're packing the dishwasher late at night and you don't want to put it on straight away, you don't want to be putting it on 11 p.m. or midnight, you can set a timer so it comes on at 5, 6 a.m. and then it's ready when you get up. And you can also set a short timer function on it as well. So if you're really in a hurry, you need the dishes done quickly, then you can do that. Really, really simple. Okay, have a look at the curry. Going to turn up the heat just a little bit for the final few minutes. Claudie's asked about vegan-friendly recipes. So with the muffins, you can adapt them absolutely. So they're already using coconut oil rather than butter, and then instead of the yogurt, just use a dairy-free kind of soya, coconut yogurt, absolutely fine. Instead of the egg, you could use an egg replacer, whatever you might use usually in your baking. The curry as well, obviously leave out the chicken, use more chickpeas, other beans, tofu. Really, there's loads of ingredients that you can add in. It's totally customizable. Okay, let's check our rice. Do a little taste test. Rice is definitely done, so we're going to turn that off. The curry, we're also going to take off the heat. And the last step is to add in the spinach. I tend to take this off the heat before I add it in, only because fresh spinach is just really easy to cook. You don't want to overcook it, so the heat from the curry will just naturally wilt it in. But as I mentioned about using frozen spinach, that's absolutely fine, but just add it in a little bit earlier so it has time to kind of defrost and cook into the sauce. So that's just going to wilt in, and I'm going to drain my rice. Okay, so there we go, just about finished, getting ready to serve up to hungry family. And don't forget as well, we're going to have 2 lucky winners of our Zanussi oven, so the exact oven that we're using for my muffins, which are beeping. Oh, they look great. So to be in with a chance to win one of 2 ovens, keep sending in your comments, keep sending in your questions, keep sending in your recipe ideas, how you would adapt or how you would change up, what you would do with these recipes. Here we go. Muffins are done and they smell amazing. You can really smell the fruit. It's that lovely sweetness of the clementine. Curry is done. We're going to serve it up. So I don't know about you guys, I like lots of sauce with my curry. My husband always says he prefers it thicker, so if you do want to thicken up the sauce a little bit, just add a bit of corn flour and it'll thicken up really nicely. Bit of rice. Delicious. And there we go. Really quick and easy coconut chicken curry, and of course my fruity breakfast muffins. So keep sending in those questions, keep sending in those ideas for what you would make, maybe even something else if you've got ideas for other recipes that you would make with one of these Zanussi appliances. Remember also we're giving away 2 of these Zanussi ovens, so if you want to be in with a chance, do head over to the Zanussi Facebook page and check out all the terms and conditions of how you enter. And send in as well recipes. I want to see your recipes. I want to see your ideas, what you would do, how you would change up the flavor. I want to see your images. The more imaginative, the better. So guys, I really hope you like this. Thank you so much for joining in, and hopefully I'll see you soon.